All right, so we hit 3 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll go through just everything. Thank you for your time today, Daniel. I just kind of wanted to start off with the purpose of this event. This event will discuss what causes severe bottlenecks with supplementing and insurance claims, and Daniel will provide insights on how to position your roofing business as the local expert. Kind of just wanted to get an introduction out of you. So, Daniel, can you share a little bit of your background and how that has helped form you becoming an expert in this subject?
Yeah, absolutely. So, been in construction pretty much my whole life. I still have a picture of when I was, I think, like 4 years old. My dad was working on the roof, and I climbed up the ladder, gave my mom a heart attack when she saw me up there. And then just construction projects with him all growing up. He's an engineer, so attention to detail was always kind of, really solidified. And then went to college, got a temporary job out of college as a production manager. I thought I was going to go record music, but stuck with a production management position. Our public adjuster actually got arrested, so I had to quickly learn Exactimate and estimating to keep all of our claims moving. So then I was overseeing production and the estimating. Eventually worked my way up to the final 2 years there, 2017 and 2018. I was running that whole company as the operations officer. And it was during that time, through networking and other events, where I just started to see in our company and in a lot of other companies that were doing insurance work is like this bottleneck at the supplementing process. So, and I talk a lot about that in my book of why it happens, but basically everyone who does insurance restoration has to get over that hill at some point because the insurance companies are just, in no rush to pay. So it was during my last 2 years there, I started to notice that, build connections, and actually started to take on other people's supplementing work on, like nights and weekends. Whenever I wasn't working, I was doing their supplements. And the feedback was amazing. And towards the end of 2018, I was like, man, there's like something here. And I think that's probably around the same time a lot of people figured it out. More of the supplementing companies started to pop up then. So it was January that I launched Zavodney Consulting, started taking on clients then. And then April, where I left my full-time job to do consulting, supplementing work full-time. Very shortly after that, I hired my brother, Joe. Many of our clients will know him because he's running it now. And ever since then, it's just been nonstop, more clients, more estimators, more claims, and we've gotten really good at it.
It's awesome. Well, success shows in that way. So, just kind of recapping what you just said is that as most roofing contractors know that there are bottlenecks with supplementing and insurance claims processing in nearly every department throughout the industry. And so it's just going to dive into the questions. The first one is, why does supplementing bottlenecks tend to happen in the first place?
Right. So the big answer is it's part of the insurance company's tactics to slow it down. And I mentioned this in my book is that if they can have, you know, we're dealing with 1, 2 claims at a time, like one homeowner, one claim. They have tens of thousands of claims going on across the US all at once. So if they can delay each of those by 3, 6, 9 months and hold on to all that money that's invested, they're able to earn whatever money they're going to pay back in that amount of time, so they don't actually lose anything. So for one, it's part of their tactic. It's a strategy. And if you're unethical, then it's a really good business model because you're not losing any money. So for one, it's intentional. So because of that, we have to be equally intentional to say we're either going to have a dedicated person or someone with dedicated time to do these follow-ups, and to, most importantly, keep the homeowner involved. We want them leading the charge. A lot of contractors take the approach, hey, Mr. Homeowner, you're not going to have to do anything. Like, just, you sit back, relax, and we'll take care of everything. You won't have to be involved. And then that's like one of the worst things you can do as a contractor, because one, they should be involved because it's their home and it's their claim. They should care the most. And two, they're the ones who have the contract with the insurance company. The insurance company doesn't owe us a thing. They can ignore us. They usually, don't long-term, but they don't have any obligation to answer us. So having a dedicated person and keeping the homeowner involved are two big steps you can take to not see as severe of a bottleneck.
And so with that, to keep the homeowner involved, one of the parts that I got out of your book that really just hit home with me is how important it is to set clear expectations with the homeowner. So can you kind of build upon that of how you can do that of setting really clear expectations and keeping them involved with the whole situation of going through that process?
Yeah, 100%. And that's expectations for me is like every single part of business should be, like with your employees, there should be good expectations. With your vendors, there should be expectations. With, the manufacturers, there should always, the more you talk about ahead of time, the better. So with the homeowner, we always want to know before the claim's filed whether they have ACV or RCV coverage, what kind of code coverage they have. Are there cosmetic exclusions? We want to be connected with their agent. We want to know everything before we go into it so that we can set proper expectations. And then when we have that, typically I'm going to say, Mrs. Homeowner, Mr. Homeowner, about 50% of the time, the adjuster who comes out is going to do a really good job. They're going to find all the damages that I've shown you. They're going to find it all. They're going to write up a good scope, and there might be a little bit back and forth where we have to find some of their missing items. That's going to happen about half the time. The other half of the time, they're going to be either unreasonable or unwilling to do their job when they come out, or they just weren't properly trained and it might not be their fault. So in that case, we're going to be on a team to make sure that they come to the same conclusion we did, that here's all the damages and here's the proper scope of work to replace them. Now I'm going to put together all that argumentation, all that documentation. I'm going to submit that to them. You'll be CC'd on the email. Transparency is huge for us. You'll be CC'd so you know exactly what we're asking for and why. And if they continue to be unreasonable there, then we're going to ask you to get involved. We'll put something together that you can send them and, just make sure that we're on the same team pushing together so that when that happens, they're not like, well, you promised me it was going to be a full approval and now they just approved a repair. Like, this is just a waste of time. And on the other side, if you make the insurance companies sound too bad, you're like, man, you said these guys were all jerks and the person who came out was really cool. Like, maybe you're the problem, so you want to say like it could go either way because it could. It's probably more likely that they're going to be a jerk, but we don't want to, we want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
I like it. So keeping it open and then just having very clear communication. So you think just copying them and then just keeping them actively involved with every step of that communication is very key with that?
Yeah, especially, and you can get a pulse on this very quickly. If the first adjuster, like I build expectations as I go. So I'm not going to vomit everything that could possibly happen when we're filing the claim. I will set, the next step of expectations along the way, because too much information, they're just going to get confused and overwhelmed, and then they might not want to move forward.
That's what I actually got
So
from your book.
whatever,
A lot from your book was how to go through the different stages of setting those expectations. I'm going to have a link to this when we're promoting this video afterwards. Anyone that hasn't read your book, I highly, highly recommend it for that one particular reason, as well as many others, but just the how to set clear expectations through those steps. I really liked how you put that together.
yeah, I'm glad that was a good takeaway of yours, because that's important. You get a lot on both sides, either too much expectation setting and it's overwhelming, or not enough and now they think you don't know what you're doing.
Awesome. So I think that one addressed that question pretty well. The next part that I really saw in your book was just basically explaining how the roofing industry is incredibly competitive and how can you set your roofing company apart from the competition to capture as much market share as possible, which I think was tying in the one part that you said is by being the expert in your market, and insurance pays dividends. So can you kind of expand upon that concept of positioning yourself as the local expert with this type of knowledge and how that can help position your roofing business within your local market?
Yeah. So one is have a very clear, actually be the expert. You actually have to have a very clear understanding of every direction an insurance claim can go, which takes a lot of work. I've been doing this for, 7 or 8 years in the insurance restoration industry. And it's rare, but still occasionally something happens where I'm like, man, all right, how are we going to email about this? Or, what's the best approach to deal with this? So educate yourself. One, continued education is huge. And then once you have that, like being able to say to the homeowner, yeah, you can work with this other contractor if they were out first, or you want to use them, that's fine. You still definitely want to keep my card, because when this happens and they can't get this approved, or they can only get a repair, call me and we'll take it from there. And people at my company can say that with conviction, because they know that it's true, that if anybody can get a roof bought, it is us. So continued education, um, making sure that the homeowner knows that and then a big way that I've translated this is by video content. So you know just step-by-step videos of, like, what happens in an insurance claim, 5 questions to ask your contractor. Anybody who wants to look at the videos I've made, they're on Facebook, they're on YouTube, you're welcome to create something similar for your market. So making sure you're educating your clients. And then back to expectations, just let them know, like, if this happens, this is what we're going to do. If this happens, this is what we're going to do. So they know, okay, we got a repair. My contractor said that was possible. No problem. I already know what he's going to do to take care of it.
And it kind of ties back into setting expectations. So you're using video content in that way to educate and set expectations of what the whole entire process looks like.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Especially on that front end, because we've had clients in the past that get a repair estimate, or the adjuster says, this is what we're doing, the claim's closed, which I know doesn't mean anything. Like, who cares if they say the claim is closed? We're going to get it reopened. It doesn't mean anything. So making sure they know, if they get a repair, we're going to attempt the repair and we're going to show it doesn't match, and then we're going to get it approved. If they approve it really low, we're going to show them what we need. And then, here's how we're going to overcome XYZ depending on what happens.
Awesome. And so the next question that I had, and I think this kind of ties in, we're already kind of answering a little bit, is how do you position yourself as the expert in your market for specifically insurance? So it sounded kind of like education was key, but then being able to present that through video was a real clear answer that you had. The thing that I wanted to tie into next was building the right relationships, specifically with insurance agents, realtors, and property managers. I think you expanded that idea and concept in your book a little bit. Can you kind of share a little bit of insight into how to position as the expert specifically with those three? And we can start off with insurance agents.
Yeah. Those three have been huge for us. Who was it you had on last? His content was really good.
No, he's such a cool, just because you got me in
Yeah,
the middle. It was right there. No,
yeah,
Randy Hurtado, super amazing dude. And I love how he built those relationships and expanded upon that concept. And he's a person that really puts relationships first, and that's so key in business.
yeah. So he did talk a lot about those relationships. Diving into specifically, so insurance agents, your value is, it should be, if there's no damage, we're not going to say there's damage. So you always want me to inspect the roof before your policyholder files a claim, because if another roofer knocked on their door and says it's damaged, that doesn't necessarily mean it's damaged. And then on the other side, I'm going to deal with a lot of upset policyholders that are going to be looking for a good insurance agent. So as long as you're the type of insurance agent who goes to bat when we say there is damage, those are the kind of people that I want to send my upset policyholders to. As far as realtors, the big value add is pre-listing inspection. They want us to be out there before it goes on the market, because once it's on the market, there's already a price listed, and they're usually trying to get to the closing table. So if they can get us out there pre-listing and there's damage, now we've increased the value of their home. The realtors are making more commissions. The homeowner's selling their house for more. The new buyer has transferable warranties. It's a win for everyone. But you've got to get there in pre-listing. And then if there's no damage, then they have that report. So when the home inspector inevitably says, I think there's an issue with the roof, have a roofer look at it, which they always do, even when there's no issue with the roof. Then you've already got that. You've got that report ready to say, yep, no problem. We've already had it done. They said it was good. Here's that report. So it's a win-win for everyone for the pre-listing inspection. It's just, you've got to train the realtors, because they want to get it on the market. They want to get to the closing table. So if they can take a little bit of time on the front end, they can increase their commission by quite a bit over time. And then property managers, it doesn't really apply to my the subject of the book so much, but it's been an innovation for us this year where we're able to pitch direct to production to property managers. So rather than working through a sales rep, adding commission, they can send stuff direct to production. So production gets out there at a lower cost. And on the first inspection, they're typically able to, within the property management budget, repair whatever needs to be repaired. And it's a really fast, seamless process. And then, as many people watching this will know, a roof that you're repairing will likely result in a roof that you're going to replace eventually. So it's good repair work in the meantime, but it sets yourself up for future business. And it makes it so seamless for the property management companies to send it to production. And it's like basically goes right on the calendar when that email comes in.
Awesome. How do you approach these people to be able to educate them? And I know it's three different tiers, but is it kind of the same type of approach of getting in front of them and then educating them on how you can provide these benefits, or?
That's a really good question. Property management is probably the weakest. That's, you've got to work your networks to get in front of those people. Those cold calls are pretty hard, but once you have that relationship with people who can get you in, that's your entry there. With insurance agents, it's as simple as each one of your clients, you ask for the introduction. And then if they do a good job, then they become one of your referral partners. If they do a bad job, or they're unreachable, or your policyholder doesn't even know their agent, then they go on your list to send to your referral partners. And then realtors, probably the best way is by sponsoring events where you can get in front of, like 200 Keller Williams agents at once. And hopefully, 10% of them will catch on and be like, holy crap, like this doesn't cost me a thing. I just need to get in the habit of doing this before it goes on the market.
Oh, that's awesome feedback and tips. I really appreciate those. Getting into just the last little bit that I had for this event is basically just setting up your company for insurance and supplementing. You put in your book, there's basically two routes you can take. You can either, one, hire and train an in-house supplementer, or two, hire a third-party supplement company. Kind of just wanted to dive a little bit into quickly the pros and cons of each, just for a roofing business owner. What is the benefits and the cons of hiring and training an in-house supplementer is where we'll start.
Yeah, and to your point, I probably should included some type of hybrid model where you have a person in-house or a part-time in-house who helps coordinate. So the pro of having an in-house person is they're yours all day every day. You'll probably get a little bit faster turnaround, and if they're incentivized properly, then they're also going to be trying to get as much approved as possible. Sometimes with an in-house person, if their salary, hourly, or something with little bonuses, then they get to the point where they're getting swamped and they don't want to be the bottleneck of the company. So they will start accepting approvals for things that, like maybe it should have been a little higher, but man, I've got 40 more claims and I have to get them all done this week. If you're the owner and you're doing it, the cons are obvious, where it's opportunity cost. So every minute you spend on hold waiting for the adjuster is a minute you could have spent innovating a process, hiring a new rock star, selling yourself if you're still selling, making a new big connection. Like it has to be more important than all the other things you could be doing to build your business to, as an owner, take the time to do that, which, I have a roofing company also, and I outsource all my stuff to my supplement company because I don't want to have someone in-house doing it. The pros, well, I've already went over the pros of that. And then outsourcing it, pros and cons. So outsourced, you could have the same con of, they have made enough money on my file and now they're just done with it because it's gotten difficult. You could have bad communication, where it goes to the estimator, they estimate it, they kick it over to a call center. The call center, take turns between 12 different people calling on it. So you don't know what's going on with your file when you call in. Well, who's got this? Eric wrote the estimate. Well, Eric sent it to Jenny to call. Well, Jenny sent it to Jenny. sent it to Jessica, and now she's calling. I don't know. We'll get back to you. So that's a big complaint we've got when people come to us is nobody knew what was going on with my file, and they've had it for 2 months. I'm trying to think what other cons I had in there.
Well, even I would like to dive
Um,
into that point right there. Is what do you really feel separates your supplement company from others? Like just that point, I would really like to hear.
yeah, and that's probably my favorite thing to talk about. So thank you.
Of course.
Um, well, on that note, we have start to finish file supplementers. So if Jim or Alex or Joe or Tyler is on your file, they wrote the estimate, they did the audit of the insurance estimate, they put together all of the missing items, they put together all of the argumentation, they sent the argumentation, and now they're continually following up on everything and talking to the adjuster about line items they wrote and defended. And then so it results in higher approvals. And if anyone has a question on it, they know, hey, I got CC'd and it was Tyler's file. I got CC'd on it. If I call Tyler, I know he's going to have the most up to date information, and he will until I get the final payment. The second thing is that being in contracting first, I didn't just start a supplement company because I thought it was cool. I was in contracting, and that's what led me to realize the need. So I understand the relationship with these adjusters is very important. So we don't go after items that are illegitimate because that ruins your credibility, ruins our credibility, and we don't go at it aggressively. So we're not going to destroy that relationship with the adjuster trying to get some extra line items. We always approach it with a let's work together to get the right outcome for the homeowner who's been paying you guys all this money. Here's why we needed to do XYZ. We all want to do the right thing. And it's not because we're naive. We know that some are combative, and we, have to get firm if it goes there. But the way that most of the phone calls I hear with my supplementers is very friendly, very amicable, and we get very good results. And I know that's a big reason why.
And that's a reoccurring theme that I hear with all these types of conversations with successful business owners is it's about building relationships, treating people with respect and dignity, and then the business kind of unfolds from there. So really respect that a lot. Um, Made it through the questions that I had for you, and just kind of wrapping up. Just kind of sharing with through this video is if you're wanting to thoroughly understand insurance claims and position yourself as a local expert, I highly encourage you to read Daniel's book, Over My Head, What You Need to Know About Supplements and Insurance Claims. I'll add that link to all the videos that we promote with this. To get your hands a copy, I'll put it down in the comments for wherever I'm sharing this video. Was there any last things that you wanted to share, or any additional feedback?
No, I don't think so. Diego's got a couple questions though.
Then I appreciate your time
What
today.
resources do you have? Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, what resources, this is from Diego, what resources do you have for new reps to learn the different ways to go up against the insurance company?
Yeah, definitely not trying to self promote. I mean, they're free, but having them read both of my books is a really good foundation. The first book I wrote was a homeowner facing, basically what the homeowners should know about insurance claims, which is a really good place for also a rep to start. And then the second one is more of what owners slash salespeople need to know about supplements and insurance claims. So those can really help set the expectations. And if there's more that I'm missing there, Diego or anyone listening, I'm sure there's going to be many revisions to those books. And I'm always happy to answer any questions. Like every single claim is different. And I say that in my book. You could have two houses, same street, different adjuster, different insurance company, different whatever, and it'd be completely different, claim situation. So you can put my contact information also, Ryan. If anyone has any like specific questions, we're always here to help. Like you said, it's about relationships. Our slogan is relationships over transactions. I don't care about, billable hours or getting your next file to supplement. We want to help people grow their companies. And we believe that over time that'll lead to more business for us. And even if it doesn't, we're fine with that.
100% agree with that one. That's awesome. And then just the last question that you had is for new reps, what are the do's and don'ts when dealing with insurance?
Do's and don'ts. So the biggest thing is to keep your homeowner involved. and to set proper expectations. That's a do. And then don't be overly aggressive, especially with the adjusters. Keep it professional. Um, be seen as the professional when you're writing emails. I've seen a lot of our clients, when they send us claims that they've already been trying to work on, and man, some of their emails are like, I get it's frustrating, but they go off a wall with these adjusters, and that just makes everyone look bad. So, don't get super aggressive. Don't file claims that are like shouldn't be filed. A lot of people in the industry do that. Like, an arguable hail hit or two, and it's like, yep, your roof is completely destroyed, and you're just setting yourself up for a really tough claim. So make sure when you're telling them to file, it's highly defensible. Any other big do's and don'ts? I mean, just continued education. There's so much out there for free that, people are putting out content constantly. Just keep getting educated, because the insurance companies pretty much every year have some like twist in their policy or different way you have to supplement for things or present arguments. So just staying up on, what's new.
Appreciate all of your time, insight, feedback. Really enjoyed just listening to just your knowledge on this. So thank you for getting together today. I'm going to make the recording of this, be able to share it through Facebook, send it over to you as well. Thank you for the people that did join for the live event today. Really appreciate it. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll be all talking soon.
Yeah, you too, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.